Hello and welcome to the 15th time. It isn't, but like I've for some reason I'm getting stuck on the intro, so I'm just going to say welcome into Video Game Story Time with Sky Fellowship. Hi, I'm Sky Fellowship. That's the whole channel's name, the username, whatever. And I don't know why the brain is like this some days, but it really is like this some days. Today's episode is going to be entitled one of two things. It's either going to be entitled "Not Everything Is For Me" or "Not Everything Is For Me and That's Okay." Or something like "Everything Isn't For Me and That's Okay," to maybe shorten it. Because this is going to be a targeted video to go up at the same time as Pokemon Arceus, IGN Is This a 7? And this is to counter that video where there's, right, without spoiling anything, there's some things that are said. There are some things, some vitriol that I needed to get off my chest in that video. And I wanted to make this as a counterpoint because at the end of the day, like with everything in life, there is nuance to things. And just because I wanted to scream into the void about Pokemon, at the same time, I fully acknowledge this isn't for me and hasn't been for a long time. I even say something kind of similar in that, but explain that with a lot more nuance and would recommend it, especially if you want to hear someone just totally crashing out about a franchise. I was like 8 when Pokemon came out. That's when I was the target audience. The thing that seems to have angered so many people is, and maybe there would have been better being transparent and actually advertising this, but at the same time, what corporation would ever do this in any scenario? It's quite clear that while a bunch of franchises have decided we're going to grow up with the gamer, we're going to grow up with you and deliver you stories into your adulthood and that, Pokemon only ever was, you know what, I'm fine targeting 8-year-olds. I'm just, yeah, this is what I was here for, this is what I was designed for, this is what I was put on this earth for. I will target 8 to 10-year-old demographic. That's basically what I want to do, and I'm going to steer there my entire life of the franchise. And that seems to be where a lot of problems have came in, because obviously as those kids have grown up, they've got to experience Zelda that grew up with them, they've got to experience Gears of War that grew up with them, like, because at the end of the day, if you grew up at Gen 4, I want to say, you'd have also grown up with Gears of War, like, when you hit your teens. Like, this is what I mean. It is such a wide net of 8 to 10 year olds that this is caught, but because it's never grown up, everyone kind of gets to the point where, you know what, I'm no longer into Pokemon anymore. Now, obviously, I say that lightly. There are some people who have been ride or die who only play this for their entire life so far. They bought in on Day 1 and have played every single gen. But those are the people who tend to be even the most miserable and complaining about all of the problems with Pokemon. And it feels like, and I'm trying not to spoil things that I said in the other video, but if that isn't Stockholm Syndrome, I don't think I know what is. And I actually genuinely do know a lot about Stockholm Syndrome, and there are so many similarities with Pokemon fans and Pokemon. It's just, the crossover's a little too big. It's like when you see those memes of, wow, all of these memes about ADHD are really, really hitting. I wonder if that means something. Yeah. But is it really a problem that this isn't for me? Is where I'm kind of wanting to see this to now. Is it really an issue that this exists? Now, in the other video where I actually fully crash out about it, I do list my problems that I have thinking that this is a lot more predatory than it ever was when I was growing up, and I don't like that about it. But for the most part, no, I don't need every single franchise in the history of the universe to cater to me. Things are going to be in my life some days and not in my life other days. That's true of people, it's true of pretty much every medium. I used to love the Star Wars films when I was growing up, and I actually used to hate Star Trek. I really couldn't get into Star Trek. Hit about 25 and suddenly I can't watch anything Star Wars, but I'll watch fucking everything Star Trek. We change as people as we grow up, and I know I'm kind of circling back. Maybe that's why people also expect this franchise to change over time. And yeah, nothing would please me more than to finally get the Pokemon game of my dreams. I would gladly come back to it. I would gladly buy it and play it and be happy with it. But I don't ever expect that to truly happen. because they've found their demographic. They know who they're targeting, they know what they're targeting, they know where they're going to make their money, and as a company, that is ultimately all they care about. I'm recording this having just known, and it was kind of always theorized, but it was confirmed that the Pokemon Company spent more money on the Super Bowl commercial this year than they did on the entirety of building Pokemon's ear and marketing the year and just everything to do with the year. Basically, their entire budget for one commercial that didn't even advertise an actual video game. It essentially advertised just Pokemon in general, I guess, just as if it was to say, hey, remember, this is all the cool stuff you used to do as a kid, and there's these celebrities seeing their stories and their favourite Pokemon. Like, I've kind of lost my own train of thought here. But the fact that they spent all that money on that and don't spend it on the games, it's because they don't have to. I got my train of thought back. It's because they don't have to do that. Because these fucking games still make billions of dollars. Like, that might even be an exaggeration. I think with Scarlet Violet, it's the one that broke all the sales records. Like, these make so much money, no matter how many Pokemon fans are pissed off, no matter how many reviews say this is a 6 out of 10, this is not a great game, no matter how many things like that happen, it's still going to make the money because 8 to 10-year-olds don't care. And honestly, that's actually something that a lot of adults really need to remember about being a kid and learn from being a kid. I didn't care if everyone liked what I liked when I was a child. Maybe I was just the weird kid. I mean, I was very neurodivergent, I was queer. There's so many things that make me the weird kid, quite frankly. I even liked broccoli. I don't apologise for that. I fucking loved broccoli ever since I was a child. I do not understand it. I also used to drink coffee at like 6. I was the weird kid. I fully acknowledge this now. But at the same time, I never once thought as a child, oh, everyone has to like everything I like. If anything, I actually liked the fact that my, at the time, best friend had a completely different superhero he loved and a completely different comic book franchise he loved. I was the Spider-Man kid. He was the Batman kid. And I didn't really get into Batman at all for a long time. Again, it's one of those things that changed as I grew up. But that didn't determine our friendship. That didn't change anything. So it was just like, oh yeah, it's cool that you have a hero you love too. The common ground to me was, yeah, we both love that. Like, we both love superheroes. The common ground is we both love video games. That, you know, it was never a case of you had to love exactly everything I loved to actually be a friend, you know? I really wish adults would fucking figure this out and realise that not everything's about them, especially a certain contingent of adults, and I'm trying not to go there, but I think we all know who I mean. A certain contingent of adults who really think that absolutely every single thing, every single game should be catered to them. I personally cannot stand Pokemon Scarlet Violet. I will never play it again after this battle here. I got to the point where I pretty much got to with every time I've tried to get back into a Pokemon game, 2 or 3 gyms, and I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I am now about to probably piss off more Pokemon fans by saying, I know it's not the formula of the gameplay that's the problem, because I fucking love Temtem. I played the crap out of Temtem. I played it start to finish. I played through it in solo player. I played through it from start to finish again in co-op player. I didn't complete the full Tempedia, I think it was called. Basically, that game's version of a Pokedex. I didn't collect all of the Tems because there were a couple that were exclusive to like endgame raid stuff, and I didn't have enough people to actually play the game with for endgame raid stuff. I literally had one person to play with, so I never got everything, but I got mostly everything. I collected, I even did shiny hunting and got like all of my favourites in shiny form. I loved the shit out of Temtem from start to fucking finish. I played through it, as I said, multiple times. I loved the story, I love the dialogue, I love the pacing, I love the battles. I know fine well it's not that I dislike Pokemon style games. I dislike Pokemon. And it really is that effective. Sorry, it's because I was reading that. It really is that... I now can't think of the word I was going to say. Simple. It really is that simple. I like Pokemon style games. I dislike Pokemon. And I would love nothing more than for eventually them to make a Pokemon that players like I wanted to play and like have all of the basic stuff that I actually want about it, have a good story. The fact that this has got 3 storylines and I found all of them to be so banal and generic, it's unbelievable. I didn't like mostly any of my time I spent with this game, and I played it from start to, I'm going to say here, because literally this is as far as I've got. I played it from start to here on the Switch 2. I didn't even experience the bad version of the game. So yeah, it's just one of those though. I feel gutted that I paid the money for it, because it's obviously not great to waste money. But at least I get to make this video out of it, and I wouldn't have done it before, so that's a win. At least I guess kinda was in some sort of zeitgeist for a bit moment with it, and was able to discuss with people, and found a lot of people who tried coming back to Pokemon, and turns out they can't vibe with it either. There are minor positives here, but my point, the entire point of the video, as much as I obviously crashed out in the other video, which, again, if you do want to experience that, go for it. This isn't for me, and that's okay. And it will always be okay, because at the end of the day, for a lot of people who also love to make the rhetoric about, like, protecting the kids and making everything about kids, when it comes to Pokemon, this is the one thing that apparently well, I say one thing, obviously, again, I'm trying not to go there. This is the one thing that seems to be, no, Pokemon should never be about kids. Yes, it was about a child when I was a child. You know, it's like, let the kids have something. The fact that they still enjoy this crap, great. It's like an easy thing for kids, right? This is how to get into JRPGs, and then once you get sick of this, which most people, I probably would be right by actually saying most people eventually do. Even, again, the die-hard Pokemon sickos are, I know fine well, are at breaking point. By the time they get to the point of getting sick of it, it's like, right, now let's introduce you to some actually good JRPGs. Of which, the worst part is, Gen 1 and Gen 2 are still kind of considered really good JRPGs. Like, they're not just good Pokemon games, they're good games. Whereas with Pokemon, you kind of hit that contingency of, is this a good game, or is this good by Pokemon standards, you know? So yeah, I think I'm kind of done with that video. So I'm going to say, until next time, this has been Sky Fellowship, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!